Hi everyone, this series of video talk about the financial decision and the firm. This series of video will go over the main categories of business organizations. It will also talk about how financial managers making financing decisions and outside investors making investment decisions. It will also talk about how firms maximize shareholders' benefit, and we will talk about some specific scenarios where firms can deviate from this expected goal. In the end, I hope you can have the financing model for corporation, you know the asset composition for corporation, and you know how financial markets can help firms to make financing decision and investment decision. Now let's focus on the first topic of this lecture. This video will explain the main categories of business organizations. Imagine you are a good chef and you want to sell dishes to your neighbors, friends, and even strange customers from online platform. Then what kind of categories of business organization you will have? You will have this sole proprietorship. You own this kitchen business and you operate this kitchen business. And you easily set up this business and you report tax as a self-employed person. If you borrow some loans to expand your kitchen business, and if you have some bad shocks further, and you have to shut down your kitchen business, then unfortunately you need to pay the debt related to your kitchen business. We call this situation as unlimited liability. Okay, we introduced the most primitive business organizations. Now I want to introduce the partnerships. If you think you have a pretty good performance for your kitchen business and you want to have some of your friends to help with you to run this kitchen, then we call this a partnership. So it is a business owned by several persons, and you have a limit for the number of this person. What if we want to relax the restriction for how many owners we can have? We want to have more people to be the owner of these organizations. Then we have this great invention of institution. We call it corporations. So if you have a good recipe and you want to provide it with good dishes to a lot of customers in different cities, now you want to set your own corporations. And the main difference between this corporation and sole proprietorship is that the corporation is a legal entity. So the wealth, the debt of this corporation will be separated from your own wealth and your own debt. Other than these three categories of business organizations, we still have some hybriding organizations. They may have some combined characteristics of these categories of organizations. Now I want to talk more details about corporation. As I mentioned before, corporation is a separated legal entity from its owners. So the investor's liability is only limited to his investment. Suppose you have the shares of Zoom and you find that Zoom had already borrowed some debt. You can find this in its financial statement, in its asset liability table. Do you need to worry that you need to pay the debt if Zoom goes to bankruptcy? After today's course, after this video, well, you can have the answer. You don't need to pay the debt because you have limited liability. This is the first main characteristic of corporation. The second characteristic of corporation is that you can transfer the ownership of corporation to another person. You can transfer it privately then it is a private corporation, or you can transfer it in the public markets. We call the firms with stocks traded in these public markets as public corporation. Apple, Microsoft, Zoom, they are typical public corporations. Corporations have many advantages, so it is crucial for the business in this country. It contributes to more than 80% of GDP for this country. The main goodness of corporation is that you have limited liability. The shareholders avoid the debt risk. And corporation lives long, even longer than a people. So if your grandpa held some shares of Ford in 1920s or 1930s, and he passed it, and he switched it, and he transferred it to his sons, daughters, and offsprings. So then you will find that the stock lives longer than a physical person. And for corporations that have stocks traded outside, it might be easier for them to raise external funds, because investors have more information about the operation information, the details of management inside this corporation. So for this course, we will focus mainly on corporations, because it is the main category of business organization in this country. Now I want to provide a brief summary for this short video. This video mainly talks about the three categories of business organizations. They are sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. For sole proprietorship, you only have one owner for this business. The owner will also be the manager. And the owner have unlimited liability to this business. In other words, the owner's wealth situation is not separated from the business. Partnership is different with sole proprietorship, because partnership allows more than one owners. However, partnership have some restrictions about the number of partners. So now we have the main categories of business organization, the corporation. Corporation have unlimited number of owners of business. The shareholders of business may be different with the managers of business. And the corporation's financial situation is separated from its owner's wealth situation. For a shareholder of corporation, he needs to pay 2 times of tax for corporation. The first time, he paid the corporate tax. The second time, when he collects the dividend from the corporation, he pays the dividend tax for the corporation. So this is the first video. Welcome to watch for the other videos for this series.